What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in. It's 1TS Daily Live here at One True Sport. How's it going? Thanks for being here. My name is Zack Heydorn. I'm your host from Brass Ring Media and from Sports Illustrated. Pumped to have you join the show today. Already started off with a little bit of a technical difficulty. I'm sure you all saw that. Don't hold it against me. It's Tuesday. It's cold. It's the holidays. The kids are crazy. Don't hold it against me. Thanks so much for being here. We are live with this show every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to talk with you about the news of the day in pro wrestling, what's going on out there in a quick, snackable podcast, quick snackable show to talk with you about wrestling and just to give you a lowdown on what's going on, what's up, hear your thoughts about it all, and ride off into the sunset. So not here to take 3 hours of your time, but I do love doing this show each and every single day. It's like a highlight of my professional day. So thank you so much for making it possible. If you're watching on YouTube, hi, thanks so much for doing that. Hit the like button if you can. It helps us out big time. If you are on Twitter X, hello there too. Thank you so much, and hit that heart button. It helps us out big time to grow and continue to get the show in front of new people, in front of new wrestling fans, so you can talk to them. So yeah, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Thank you in advance. I do have the live chat open and ready to go for you guys. So jump on in there and just banter away. Any kind of topic that you want to suggest that we cover today on the show, any kind of question that you may have about what we're talking about or about something else that you just want to make sure that I hit, great, drop it in there. If you want to rant, if you want to rave, if you want to just totally bury my comments, go right ahead. That's what the live chat's for. And the best part of the show is engagement and interaction back with you. So feel free. If you want to make sure, I'll try to get to everything that I can in the live chat, definitely. But if you want to make sure, absolutely, you get your question, your comment, your topic read here on the show. Drop a super chat, and that bumps your comment to the top of the list. Any contribution amount helps us out big time for that, and I thank you in advance for doing that and helping me out. So I appreciate it. All right, let's start off this show today talking about last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. And I thought it was a pretty good episode of Raw, to be frank. Like they covered a lot of ground in terms of stuff that's being built, stuff that the show is revolving around on a week-to-week basis. Now, not all that was good. Not all that I thought was effective, but you can see that, they're trying to hit everything. They're trying to spread out the big matches. They're trying to spread out the storylines. They're trying to, tie different storylines together. So I think from a holistic standpoint of the show itself, I'm high on how they construct these things. And I like the effort that's being put in to developing storylines. Even if I don't think they're great, you can still see the company jumping through the hoops to, tie what happened 2 weeks ago to what happened last week to what happened this week on the show. And for so long, I mean, guys, let me get a sip of coffee from our unofficial sponsor, Starbucks. Starbucks, if you're out there, we're giving you lots of impressions here. You don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss this. Cheers, everybody. Need the caffeine. If you remember from a while back, think 2016, 2017 WWE, right? Like things would just happen on the show. People would turn heel. They would win matches one way. They'd win matches another way. Next week, that narrative completely lost, completely gone, completely forgotten about. And, I think it frustrated a lot of WWE viewers. I think it turned off, a lot of WWE viewers because at that time you felt like you were kind of, hey, wait a minute. I'm trying to invest in your product here. I'm trying to invest in the show. I'm watching it weekly. and you're just willy-nilly like forgetting storylines, forgetting, different angles, forgetting character pivots. Like it's all just for nothing. And I think that hurt WWE for a while. And I think a lot of the goodwill that they have now, especially under Paul Levesque's booking, is that they don't do that. That you can count on stuff that they put out there will matter. It may not matter in the next week or in the next 2 weeks or the next 5 weeks, but at some point they've built up enough equity where things do matter and things do pay off. And yeah, Andrew's two very funny comments in the live chat. The first one is related to our conversation. Well, I guess they're both related to our conversation, but the first is they didn't forget, they simply did not care. Yeah, exactly. And that is worse. That is worse. To just completely have this disregard for the people that you're asking to watch your show. I think people soured on that. I think they soured on that real fast, and it took a long time for WWE to get that back. I think you can thank the Bloodline storyline for a lot of that goodwill coming back, and Triple H is just built off of that. So yeah, and you saw the manifestation of that this week on the show. Andrew also says here, make a coffee at home. Oh man, honestly, like I could place this live chat and like put it in my wife's dialogue to me almost every morning. We have this discussion quite a bit, and she doesn't understand. She doesn't understand. Andrew, you don't understand. Like, it's the process of going to the coffee shop and getting the coffee, being outside, going on a long walk, taking the dog with, like, it's all part of getting the coffee. Hence why I don't make it at home. But financially speaking, yes, that would certainly be more frugal for sure. You sound like my wife, Andrew. Jeez. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So yeah, okay. So a couple big angles. The first being CM Punk and Seth Rollins. You had two separate segments. They did not cross paths yesterday like they did last week on the show. But you had a sit-down interview with Punk and Jackie Redmond, and in that interview, Punk, basically, is kind of dismissive of Seth Rollins, but not in like a super heelish way. I didn't think. Like, it was more so just, hey, look, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on with Seth Rollins. I don't hate Seth Rollins. He's not even someone that I knew was really against me all that much. We do have history, and he told a little bit of that history. He told the story about Seth Rollins wanting Punk to train him for free. Not a great look for Seth, but that's out there. And I think, the other big element of this was, twofold. One was Punk calling Seth Rollins entitled, and then Punk saying, hey, look, you did a great job, Seth, while I was gone. You held down the fort. But now the starter's back, and the second stringer, you, Seth, have to take a back seat. You go sit on the bench. That was kind of the shot, that was the shot that Punk took on Seth Rollins. Now, later in the show, Seth's out there, and he, addresses Punk. He calls Punk a politician. He calls Punk a con man. You're pro wrestlers. Y'all are. And he says that the only reason that Punk had to come back to WWE, or is back in WWE, is because he failed everywhere else. It's not entirely false. And then he said, but really the reason why he came back was because the money was good. So painting Punk as this part-timer guy who is just back for the big payday. As if wrestling's not a business, Seth Rollins. Ha! How dare you? You're not getting out of bed for it just to work for WWE for free. No, I'm kidding. Look, I like this. I like this dynamic quite a bit. And look, I don't know what the plans are for WrestleMania, but if WWE is not careful, they're going to have a main event match here that they don't necessarily want. Especially if they want to put something with the women in the main event, or they want to put John Cena in the main event, or Gunther, or something to that effect on one of the nights. Like, I think that this is a hot feud for WWE going into 2025. It's had a lot of time to simmer, and it's simmered. Both guys have kind of crossed paths, but never really came to blows like they did last week. And now this week, you get kind of the context around why at least Seth is so disdainful of, or carries so much disdain for CM Punk. Like, up until last night, you didn't really have that narrative here. It was like you just knew these guys didn't really like each other. The people who knew, but nothing on TV showed you why it was that they were so, at odds, right? You got that after last week, or after last night. You have now an actual reason why, both guys don't like each other that much. And so that was an important chapter. It was a really important chapter. And add into the fact that, this all comes across as very authentic. And you get a sense that both Seth Rollins and CM Punk don't really love each other. But even if they do, when they're in the ring, there's a palpable tension between those two guys. Like, you could cut it with a knife. I think it's really organic and really, really fun to see play out. So I liked what they did, and I thought they set a good foundation for whatever's going to come next. I'd imagine that they'll use the Royal Rumble to kind of facilitate like another encounter between the two of them. Maybe they're the last two or something like that, or maybe they're the last four. They eliminate each other, something to that end. But I think you'll see, my guess is you will see Seth Rollins interfere with CM Punk's opportunity to get that main event at WrestleMania, and that is going to send CM Punk over the edge. And there you go. Now you're on. Now you're feuding. So I really liked what they did. Also, New Day follow-up. What New Day follow-up? I kid. Tremendous follow-up to New Day, and Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods did not have to say a word. I mean, last week's segment was so effective, and so impactful, and people were so ingrained and tied to and attached to the New Day that they didn't even have to go out there and explain themselves, because it didn't matter what they were going to say. The audience was against them holistically, vociferously, loudly. Kofi and Xavier couldn't even get the words out before the audience really started booing. And I'm glad that they just let that breathe. I don't know if that was it had to be somewhat on like it had to be somewhat of a, game time call on the part of Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, because like I said, you can't expect that kind of reaction. But I like the fact that they just, hey, we're getting all this heat. We don't have to really do anything. The heat's great. Everybody's enjoying us being out here because they get to boo us. Like, this angle worked. Let's go with it and then leave. Right? So we didn't get an explanation from the New Day, or we didn't get like a long drawn out explanation from the New Day. But in the end, you got what you wanted, which was that audience against you, showing the world that you guys are now heels. I thought they did a really nice job prior to their in-ring segment, like setting that reaction up by having them cross paths with other baby faces backstage, and having those baby faces just totally, distance themselves from the New Day. Cody Rhodes, Natalya, others, right? Those were like the breadcrumbs from the audience to pick up on. Hey, we don't want you to cheer us tonight. Remember what we did last week. So I thought that was just a money segment, a money angle, and a money angle last week, and a money follow-up this week. Thumbs way up on that. Boss is in the chat here. Let me get to his comment. It's been sitting there for a little bit. He says here, you get Dominic heat, you're doing something right. Yeah, exactly. Like, they did get Dominic heat. Remember that? Remember a few years back when Elias was in, I think it was Seattle, and he made fun of like the fact that the Supersonics, the NBA team, had left that city, and like the whole place like just gave him like the nuclear heat. This was like that. Probably not on that level because, different kind of thing, but similar for sure. And again, it just told you that what they did last week worked. And there were some holes in it. And we talked about those holes last week on this show. And I talked about them on my Brass Ring Media show for a long time. You can catch that show on the Brass Ring Media YouTube channel right now. There were holes, but in my opinion, the holes just did not matter because you had like the audience just in the palm of their hand. And sometimes if you get that reaction, that can plug holes that are in your story, and I think that's what happened. That's what happened here. We get some big developments for Saturday night's main events. Gunther is now going to face Finn Balor and Damian Priest in a triple threat match at Saturday night's main event for the World Heavyweight Championship, not just a singles match. Gunther against Finn Balor. This is one of the things I didn't like on the show this week. And it's not that I don't like the triple threat. I mean, I don't like the triple threat. Habitually, I'm just not a triple threat person. I think that if you do triple threats, 9 times out of 10, it's because you don't feel like you have a strong enough singles match. And I think that's the case here. The bigger issue that I have is the presentation of Gunther right now. This idea that Gunther can and should be this tweener character is just, I think it's just way too soon for that. It's way too soon for that. The problem with the tweener character in every instance is that you don't get an opportunity from a fan perspective to go through that turn with him. Like that babyface turn where it's like, okay, it's okay to cheer me now. Have fun. You don't get that as a tweener. You get like this kind of like lukewarm. I'm like, okay, like you can maybe cheer him now, kind of, but don't get too invested because later he might be working a heel. I don't think that's not good pro wrestling psychology. People that watch pro wrestling, I think, want to just get behind the people they like and go against the people they don't like. Now, there's shades of gray occasionally with that, but here with Gunther, he's one of your biggest stars. He is like one of your best heels that you've had in years, and now he's down the path of this kind of tweener to babyface gimmick, and he's out there getting cheered over Finn Balor, but then in the same segment he's beating up Damian Priest, who everybody likes, and it's like that doesn't work. That's too jarring. That's too jarring, and Gunther is too important to just be kicked around like that, willy-nilly. Now, we don't know where this is going. Like, we don't at this point. So you can't grade it fully. But right now, I don't like the path that they're on with Gunther. World champion or not, if he retains the title or not, you want your top guys to be defined properly and defined in the way that audiences are reacting to them. And Gunther was not getting cheered. Like, there was no like groundswell of cheers or groundswell of support from Gunther, or for Gunther. There wasn't. So there was no like precipice for this like testing of a babyface turn. It just happened. They just did it for no reason. And I don't think that's the right. I just don't think that that's the right move at this point. I think you've cooled him off, and I think you had a character in Gunther that was totally fine and doing what you wanted him to do and getting the reaction you wanted him to get as a heel. So what are we doing? Why are we messing with that? Plus, there's still tons of matches for him to have as a heel. John Cena is coming back to the company. Braun Breaker is out there. CM Punk is out there, right? I mean, there's just way too much for him to do. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we got to wait and see this play out, but right now, I think that they've cooled one of their hotter characters, and needlessly so. Sean's in our chat and says, "What's up, guys? Gunther is getting beaten down too much, and I don't like him losing confidence. He doesn't need to go face yet at all. Hope the story goes somewhere good." Yeah, I mean, I hope so too. But I'm right there with you, Sean. I mean, you may have missed the first parts of my comments here because you just got on, but I mean, yeah, there's just no reason to do it right now, and I just don't know what the end game is. I mean, the transfer portal being open, like, it could lead to Gunther moving to SmackDown if Cody comes over to Raw. So maybe they want him to be a babyface on that show. Like, I don't know, but time will tell. I just think that regardless of where they land on this, you've kind of shot yourself in the foot with the Gunther character a little bit for no reason, and totally on purpose. It's totally self-inflicted wound if things go bad here. And I think that should be called out. All right, so that was that was this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. There's some other stuff there. Lyra Valkyria advances in the Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament. No surprise there. I think Valkyria is to me, like, that's a person that you look at and you go, okay, we probably need to go with her here if we want her to beat it. I think she works as like a fighting champion better than like a Chelsea Green would. And then there's nothing against Chelsea Green, right? Chelsea Green's a heel. She's a different kind of character. I get all that, but I think when you're trying to establish the Intercontinental title, the workhorse title, right? You don't want like a comedy heel holding that title. I think you want a workhorse champion doing that. And I think Valkyria can be that. It also could help her just have something to grasp onto on the show. Did everybody see her doing like the wing flaps? Like, what's with the bird imagery? Why? If you're in the live chat and you understand what's going on with Valkyria and the bird imagery, like, help me out, because I just don't get it. Does she like birds? Is that, I don't know. It just seems like it's like a lame imagery. And watch, the bird flapping thing is it's gonna blow up, right? Next week on Raw, the whole audience will be doing it. It'll be looking great. But I don't know. It just seemed kind of lame to me. But I guess anything new like that feels kind of lame, maybe, if no one else is doing it. I don't know. Either way, I think the IC title gives Lyra Valkyria an identity that she doesn't currently have, and she needs one badly. Sean says here, in regards to this, I would have had Dakota break away from Damage Control and win the tournament because there is so much upside with her. Yeah, she's another one who I think fits in the same. Like, you can drop everything that I said about Lyra Valkyria into an explanation about Dakota Kai and why Dakota Kai should win too, Sean. Yeah, I mean, she needs an identity too, and this could help her establish that. She's a babyface now, and I think that's good for the title at this point, to be the first women's IC champion. I think that should be a babyface. So yeah, I agree. She's another person on the short list. All right, let's pivot. We'll talk about tonight's episode of NXT. We got a handful of matches, a couple of matches, and then a segment. So first, Obafemi is going to speak about winning the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge. Obafemi, the mystery entrant at NXT Deadline. And by the way, I'll have my full NXT Deadline review up today at Brass Ring Media on Substack. So I review all of the WWE and AEW shows there. My review, a little delayed, yes, but it'll have match ratings and other analysis. So check it out. So Brass Ring Media on Substack. That's where all of our written work lives. It's free. It's free to subscribe to. It's a really good entry point into what we do at Brass Ring Media, and I hope you check it out. Just search Brass Ring Media Substack and subscribe. I hope you consider doing that. I think you'll like what we bring to the table there, myself and others, and I think you'll enjoy it very much. And it's totally free, so give it a go. Brass Ring Media on Substack. So Obafemi is going to speak on that. I think Obafemi is a very intriguing character in NXT. I think he's got a really high upside, and he can talk. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say here. I'm also looking forward to seeing whether they, as we mentioned with Gunther, like you want your audience to feel a certain way about Obafemi. So are they going to paint him as a heel? Are they going to paint him as a babyface? We'll see tonight on the show. Javon Evans versus Wes Lee. That's going to be a match that you want to see, right? That's going to be crazy athletic and fast-paced and action-packed. That match kind of manifesting in the men's men's Iron Survivor Challenge. And then Tatum Paxley teams with Gigi Dolan to take on JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. So there is that. That's NXT. That's all they got so far. I'm sure we'll get something with Julia, the women's Iron Survivor, and much more. But more to come. More to come when they announce it. Let's see. Eddie in the chat here bringing up some issues with Dakota Kai. Problem with Dakota is her history of knee injuries. Yeah, I mean, like that's it's not good. It's not good, but I don't know that you can you got to consider injuries. But at the same time, if you're back, you're back. And I think you got to use somebody to their fullest or to whatever level you think they should be used at, regardless of what might happen. Because look, anything could happen in any wrestling match at any time. So you can't overly plan for that either. But thanks, Daddy. All right, you guys, we'll wrap up there. So tomorrow, big show. Tomorrow we'll preview AEW Dynamite. We'll also review NXT, and we'll talk some of the bigger news elements of the week. So don't miss it. Once again, check out more of my work at Brass Ring Media, both on YouTube and on Substack. You can subscribe there right now. Also, check out my book, Stunning the Wrestling Artistry of Steve Austin. It's a full artistic analysis of Steve Austin's career, start to finish, like literally start to finish, his first match and his last match and everything in between. So definitely check that out. I wrote the book. Man, it's like a 4-year project now. It came out in May. Really good feedback from people that have read it and bought it. And I hope more people give it a shot this holiday season and check it out and give it a purchase. And let me know what you think. Labor of love for sure. And I just hope people pick it up and enjoy it. Once again, Stunning the Wrestling Artistry of Steve Austin. It's available now on Amazon. So you can get that there and really wherever you get your books online. We are there up and you are able to purchase it. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you do. I would love to hear from you guys. Cool. All right. We'll see everybody tomorrow right here on the show, 1TS Daily, live at One True Sport. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. We'll talk soon. See ya.